Yes, Tiki, there were two main components. Our core business produced a profit of $96 million after tax for the year. And our first half profit in our core business was actually $308 million. So that reduction of 200, you can see the impact that the pandemic has had across our business. The statutory loss was driven by us taking a provision in relation to the exit of our engineering business, which was $368 million after tax. And that was something we called out some 12 to 18 months ago. We took that provision now, and that's what's driven the statutory loss component.
Let's go to the impact of the pandemic, and particularly your construction business. How much has it hurt? And also in the United States going forward, I would think that would be an issue.
Yeah, so the impact on our construction business has obviously varied across the different regions, and it's been more felt internationally, where the pandemic has obviously had a bigger toll in some markets. What I would say overall is that in every country, governments have looked at construction as an industry that's critical in keeping their economies moving forward. So there's been good collaboration between the industry and governments to try and keep projects going. There have been a number shut down for a period of time. We're now back up and running on all of our projects around the world, but to varying degrees of productivity. So as you've called out, the US has been pretty hard hit by the pandemic, and in different cities, the local mayors have taken different approaches. But we are back up and running in all of our cities now. And we're using social distancing rules that are prescribed by government, and that does obviously have some impact on productivity.
Are there things that the government here could do more, perhaps, to help the recovery? Because, of course, building is such an important part of it.
It is. And what I'd say is it's been very difficult for our political leaders, obviously, a really tough environment. They've had to make fast decisions with very limited facts, and that's always hard. So I think the most important thing is to remain flexible and able to adjust as new information emerges. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing good collaboration here as well with industry and government. Some changes have already been implemented to the initial stage 4 lockdown rules in Melbourne that have made things a little bit easier in relation to shift work and other things. And I think as we, hopefully, there is a flattening of the curve that is maintained and we're able to come out of that stage 4 lockdown. But I think we've all got to anticipate that there may well be second waves in a number of different cities. We've got a bit of experience under our belt now as to how to handle them. And I think one of the big things I'd call out is across our business, we employ a lot of people around the world. Up to 300,000 subcontractors at any given point in time can be working on Lendlease projects. And we've had a total of 207 positive infections across our entire business and no fatalities from COVID. So, and 23 of those in Australia. So you can manage to maintain operations and do pretty well in terms of managing the virus from what we've learned.
Yeah, so your message is keep it open, keep going, and presumably open borders and move on as soon as you can.
Well, I think, yes, keep projects open. Health and safety needs to be the priority. There's different views that I'll leave to the health experts on how best to manage the pandemic itself. But in terms of operating our projects, I think we're doing a pretty good job of maintaining distancing and keeping things under control.
Right. Moving to your engineering, obviously it's been a task trying to extract yourself from it. A lot of questions, of course, around the outstanding Melbourne Metro issue. I know you said that the costs and scope you're working through with the Victorian government, but how long do you think this is going to take?
Look, it's obviously a very complicated project, number of different work fronts and precincts and a very complex contractual structure. So working through all that takes time. What I can say, though, is we're progressing in the right direction. And, we've made a provision, we've taken a provision now in our business that reflects what we expect to be the exit costs and completion costs across the projects we retain, and we're comfortable with that provision. So we are making good progress. Obviously, we'd like to be able to put this whole engineering challenge behind us, and we're working hard to do that. But they are confidential discussions. I can't really say much more at this point in time other than they're progressing in the right direction.
And presumably some of your clients are in a better off position than others. When you think about Google, for example, which is a massive client of yours, they've done pretty well through this pandemic, one would think.
They have, and the tech sector overall in America has obviously held that market up very strongly. Google's a great great customer to have, and it's a fantastic partnership that we have with them. We're working very hard to accelerate one of their precincts, and we're confident that we'll get the right approvals perhaps a little bit faster than we originally planned, so that's encouraging. And clearly there's a real need for that residential product that we'll be working with Google through, and there are opportunities for us to learn a lot that will go to enhancing our progress on really digitising our platform and increasing productivity across our platform too. So we see some other big benefits from that project. So it's a great project to have on board.